Welcome to Sexy in Your 60s. I'm Dvora Citron. We're in season 2 now, and this season we're going deep on making friends in midlife, the real work of it, the joy of it, and why it matters more than most of us realize. This is the fourth and final part of my conversation with Ricki Radosh about making friends in midlife, and it may be the one that stays with you the longest. A while back, Ricki's son sent her one of those prompts going around online. It said, "You just won $1 million. Who's the first person you'd call? Who's your person?" She sat with it and realized she didn't have an answer. Not long after, she was in a hospital in the worst kind of moment, asking herself that same question for real. Who am I going to call? What she found surprised her, and it may surprise you, because sometimes the person who shows up has been there the whole time, in a relationship we underestimated. You can go back to parts 1 through 3 anytime, but this one stands on its own. Here's Ricki.
So my son had sent me I guess it was like a meme. I don't know. I'm not good with the technology terms. But anyway, it was, you just won $1 million. Who are you going to call? Who's your person? And he wrote to me and he said, don't tell anybody, but you're my person. Right? That he called. And
Yay!
I know, I'm so happy. But it got me thinking, who's my person? Right? Then I read your blog the other day, and I really didn't know who my person was, but 3.5 years ago. So my son sent me that probably it must have been around that same time. So who's your person is on my head, right? Can you see that? He sends me that. Now I'm thinking, who's my person? Who's my person? And my partner had a heart attack. And we went to the hospital, and I'm in the hospital, and they're working on him, and whatever, and he passes. And I'm in the hospital before he passed away thinking, who am I going to call? Who am I going to call? Who am I going to call? I don't have anybody to call, right? Because even though I broke up, I have no friends. In my back of my head, I still have no friends. You want to get the conversation doesn't disappear just because you do different actions. That conversation is alive and real. I don't have anybody to call. And it's not true. It's just your brain does these weird things, and it just keeps these bad conversations alive. So there I am. I'm in the hospital. Who am I going to call? Who am I going to call? Who am I going to call? And my mom. And I called my mom. And I said, go figure. My mom is my person. And I had no idea, because for years, the reason that I used to say I couldn't move to Florida, I couldn't move to Florida because my mom lived there, right? Like the thought of spending time with my mom, being with my mom, that was something also that my brain said, no, your mom, no. But when push came to shove and I needed a person, that person was my mom. And I was blown away by that, but it actually opened something up for me. Because once I got to see, oh, your mom is your person, I was now able to put actions in to see my mom a lot more. And I would say over these past 3.5 years, as close as we were, because another thing that I had put in, it's another story, but back in 1997, I had started doing some work on myself, and I was supposed to go on a trip with my husband at the time, and he backed out. And I had said to him, I know you're going to back out. If you back out, I'm going anyway. And he backed out. I had nobody to ask at that time either, right? Because I have no friends. If you have no friends, you don't have anybody to ask. So at that time, one of my non-friends said to me, why don't you ask your mom? She doesn't have she doesn't have children. She doesn't have anybody. She has, not that she didn't have a life, but she didn't have a life that she would have to manage to go on a trip. And I called my mom, and sure enough, she was like, we're going. And my mom and I went to Alaska in 1997 together. And ever since then, every year, I try to do one trip with my mom, just my mom and I. And I can't say that we've done it every single year, but we've gone on about 20, maybe 25 trips together.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And
So you just described peeling back the layers of the onion and then finding the blessings in these situations and the silver linings, which we have the opportunity to do that every day. So, right now, at this time in your life, what does sexy mean?
so it's such a great question, right? And it's funny because when I first read your title and I was thinking sexy in your 60s, you know, is sexy really a word that I'm going for? And I don't know that it is for me. For me, peaceful is what I'm going for. For me, calm is what I'm going for. So I would say sexy in your 60s is actually being who you want to be right here, right now, every single moment, because that's all you have is just one moment at a time.
Mhm. I love that Ricki pushed back on the word itself. She isn't sure sexy is even her word. What she's reaching for is peaceful and calm and being who she wants to be right here, right now, one moment at a time. Sit with that next to the story she just told you. For years, her own mind insisted she had no one to call. It took a crisis to show her that her person, her mom, had been there all along. The old conversation in her head didn't disappear just because her life changed. It took noticing, and then it took action. So here's what I'll leave you with. If something happened tonight, wonderful news or hard news, who would you call? Who's your person? If a name came to you right away, don't let this week pass without reaching out. Send the text, make the call. Tell them what they are to you. And if no name came, or the name that came made you a little sad, don't rush past that. It isn't a failure. It's information. And it's where building something new begins. Being who you want to be right now and having people who show up when it counts. That's the real work of this season. It's the heart of my small group coaching program, Sexy in Your 60s, for women 50 and up. If this episode stirred something, add your name to the wait list, and you'll be the first to know when the next group opens. The link is in the show notes, along with everything from Ricki, her website, her podcast, and her book. Thank you for spending these 4 weeks with us, and thank you, Ricki, for your honesty. I'm Dvora Citron. This is Sexy in Your 60s. If today's conversation resonated with you, please consider following the podcast, leaving a review, or sharing it with someone who might need it right now. That's how these conversations continue to grow. I would love to stay connected. Come find me at slantplants.com/contact. And if you're curious about the Sexy in Your 60s coaching experience, get on the wait list at sexyinyour60s.com. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay curious, and stay boldly, beautifully sexy exactly as you are.